Hello and welcome to Into the Court of the Wenton King.
We're a bit late this week, Kev.
We're a bit late. We'd like to apologise due to real life things happening. But we're back! And here we are with the third Pink Floyd thing. What are we doing?
Pink Floyd in 1977 live at the Oakland Coliseum.
It's an album I know very well because I've had it for like 20 years. So obviously 20 years ago I was stupid enough to buy the thing. So yeah, 77 tour. Following Wish You Were Here, the band decided not to tour Wish You Were Here. So that there isn't really a Wish You Were Here tour. They were playing that material, some of it, before then. They were playing a song called Raving and Drooling, a song called You Gotta Be Crazy, and a song called Shine On You Crazy Diamond. And then later in the tour, Shine On You Crazy Diamond started to expand. And at one point they put Dogs, I called it Dogs then, it's not Dogs, it's called You Gotta Be Crazy, in the middle of Shine On You Crazy Diamond, which you can imagine must have been quite a gruelling experience, the whole of that. So they wrote Have a Cigar to put in the middle of it. What's significant about this tour, it's not only Animals live, it's really Wish You Were Here live as well. I mean, Wish You Were Here and Welcome to the Machine had never been played. That's interesting. The sound is fantastic. This is an audience recording, okay? So it's very strange that the sound is so good. You could believe it's a crappy fourth generation tape with a dodgy mix and things like that. Those that watch regularly will remember. Do you remember? We did a review of an album in the car, of Physical Graffiti, and we were going to see Roger Waters. We were going to go and see The Wall. We saw it in an arena, and it was just amazing.
It was jaw-droppingly amazing.
And we had to go again, and this time it's in stadiums. The Wall's even bigger.
It was disappointing in the stadium.
Yeah.
The sound was rubbish. The Wall was
like a little
longer, but it was about that high.
So yeah, stadium gigs just suck. So he was right then, and he's wrong now. And obviously the Animals tour. So yeah, 1977. Pink Floyd embarked on this world tour, and they were the biggest thing in the world ever. They were ridiculously huge, so they had to play these massive stadiums, which was obviously famously inspired The Wall. And so these are not considered a good time for Pink Floyd. The tour was considered kind of a disaster. It's really interesting to listen to the last show, because that's when Roger Waters went completely over the edge and spat on a member of the audience.
You can't do things like that.
The playing is very sloppy. It is surprisingly sloppy. I mean, having heard Pulse and things like this, which is a recital really, and they've just got loads of musicians to recreate the sound of the album. This isn't like that at all. And obviously this is proper Pink Floyd, so they're a band and they jam and they play stuff, and it's different. It's also very sloppily played. It's particularly, I think, Gilmour. It's strange, you know, that on Animals, he's very best. It is pristine. It is perfect. That's not here on this. Now there's a couple of reasons for that. I think one of the reasons, I think, is that they didn't have enough rehearsal, actually. I mean, they did say they didn't have enough rehearsal, so that's fair enough. The other thing is that they brought in Snowy White as the second guitarist, who's great, and it's a brilliant thing. And maybe Snowy White had an effect on Gilmour, channeled him more towards bluesy playing. And that part of it is great. The bluesiness of the playing is great, and Snowy White and Dave Gilmour do some fantastic harmonised playing. Sadly, Snowy White doesn't play much lead guitar, or any, I think. But the other reason I think that the performance is perhaps sloppy is the behaviour of the audience. I get the impression, just audiences in 77, something had happened, rock music had changed, it was still young, and this idea of going completely mental at concerts. 5 years before this, nobody did that. You'd go to a concert and you'd sit and you'd listen. You know, you see the audiences in like 1972 on videos, they're not going, yeah, yeah, woo, all the time. And now they are. And I get the impression there was a really horrible atmosphere. People setting off fireworks. You can hear them on here. At the start of Wish You Were Here, there's a bang. So in that environment, it must be very difficult to play Pink Floyd music. So it's the audience's fault. What did you think of it?
It's interesting because I don't dislike Animals. There's some fine music on there, but it's not one of the primary albums I go listening for Pink Floyd. And it is essentially, the first half of it is Animals, and the second half is
Wish You Were Here.
Wish You Were Here.
And then they play a couple of songs from Dark Side.
Yeah. So from that point of view, it's probably not one that I'm going to go for listening to. But having said that, because the sound quality is pretty acceptable, I mean, it is a bootleg. It's not. Yeah. It's not brilliant. You're gonna, you do actually get a sense that actually Animals live. There's some good stuff there, and it does add a little bit of a new dimension to it. But from an interest point of view, there's not that much there for me, really. I mean, bootlegs are all about, learning or getting an inkling into what was happening in the band in that period, and there's actually not that much to glean from this, I don't think.
There's a lot more from the last gig. But we'll talk about that as well.
I just try and empathise with how they were feeling at this point, because obviously the story is that after Dark Side of the Moon, the success it had left, it robbed them of their muse almost, and they sat in the studio for days at a time, just not doing anything because they had no real ideas.
Yeah, I mean, they'd reached their goal, they'd become massively famous, and the outcome of that was really all of them but Roger Waters lost interest, really. They didn't really want to be there. I mean, there's a great review of a great show from '74, which you can get the whole show, recorded properly by the BBC. There's a great review of it saying that they came on stage like, well, do we have to do this? It was kind of like that. And only Roger Waters has such an incredible drive that he managed to break the creeping malaise.
There must also have been a sense in some of their minds that, having struggled to write Wish You Were Here so much, and it being such a success, being able to separate yourself from that and actually see that Wish You Were Here was actually it is a really, 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 really good album.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Really good album. But there may have been an inkling that, well, we could put any old crap out and it would do well at this stage.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem with success after success. You don't know how much of it is momentum and how much of it is actual inspiration and the composition.
Yeah, I mean, Gilmour when they did Wish You Were Here, Gilmour wanted You've Got to Be Crazy and Ravens. He wanted those on, so, Dogs and Sheep, he wanted that on one side and Shine On the other. He was happy to do that, but Roger Waters was, no, I don't think so.
My feeling of Animal, I don't really want to review Animals too much, is that it feels really polished. There's something not quite there.
It is different, isn't it? I mean, if you read reviews, you'd think that it was sort of moving towards the wall, and it's not at all.
No.
But it is much more accomplished than the rest of their stuff, and it's much more busy stuff, which is possibly another reason why the live performance sounds so sloppy, but it certainly doesn't. I mean, I'm a big fan of Animals. I think it's fantastic. Not as good as Dark Side Wish You Were Here, The Wall. So yeah, first song, they open with Sheep. They'd open with Sheep. Sheep had been played before this tour. Sheep had been played as Raving and Drooling 74 and 75. So it wasn't like a new thing they were playing. Difference is here. The concert starts, man comes on stage, dun 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 dun, dun on the bass, yeah, Roger Waters, yeah. It's Snowy White. It's not Roger Waters, he didn't play it. So that's where part of the wall thing comes from, I think. It could have been anyone playing it. They'd still go, yeah, because they can't even sing it.
It's very difficult to see the artists in a stadium.
But yeah, Sheep, it's an okay performance of it. Not much to say about Sheep. I'm not a huge fan of that one.
Okay, yeah.
So Pigs of the Wing, yeah, is the next song. Yeah, so imagine trying to play... Did you think they dropped the bomb? No, not that one. With people screaming, yeah, yeah, Roger, and setting off fireworks and having fights in the audience while you're trying to play that song. Can you imagine?
It would be very difficult.
If it was your song.
This is my poetry you're ruining. And you pay good money to come and listen to it.
I mean, he plays it perfectly fine on this one, but on the last gig, he actually stops and says, some people want to hear a song. I want to play my song. And you hear in this stuff, you hear the Wall stuff, that it's real. It's actually really him. That's what you can say about Pigs on the Wing, though. Next song.
Dogs.
They play the songs in a different order, so Pigs on the Wing went either side of Dogs. Dogs is amazing. It is one of my favourite Pink Floyd songs. This or Echoes are my favourite in terms of individual songs. Those chords, those amazing chords. That's Dave Gilmour. No way Roger Waters came up with those chords. So it is Gilmour Waters, and obviously the lyrics are some of his best lyrics. His best lyrics on this album, I think. And here it's played very well.
Why do I get a Genesis vibe from Dogs?
Probably just because it's a bit more complicated.
I think it is. I think it's a sort of, and the vocal style is a little bit more Peter Gabriel. I think that the reason it doesn't get more attention is it hasn't got an iconic opening. Whereas you think of Echoes and Shine On, got really iconic. Probably some of the best stuff that Pink Floyd has ever done is in those openings. And this is where listening to a live version actually helps. I think it does help Dogs.
Next track.
Pigs on the Wing 2.
Yeah, Pigs on the Wing 2. Cool thing about Pigs on the Wing 2, the electric guitar solo at the end, which is an extra bit, not on the CD. But the reason they play that is because Snowy White's audition for the band. He comes in and says, hello, Dave Gilmour, how are you? He says, well, welcome to the band. Hey, and then they start arguing or whatever they're doing, as they do. And he says, don't you want to hear me play? And he goes, well, wouldn't have asked you if I didn't think you were good. He didn't even do an audition. So Roger goes, well, why don't you get him to play something? Oh, okay. So he plays on the album. It's on the 8-track version of Animals, because an 8-track goes all the way around. There's a little guitar solo that joins Pigs on the Wing 2 back to Pigs on the Wing 1, which is obviously unavailable, unless you've got YouTube. Here it's Dave Gilmour playing it. That's Gilmour, that's not Snowy White. Snowy White doesn't play much lead, so. Next song?
Pigs.
Pigs! And obviously, once again, Pigs works really well live. It's a live song. I don't think it's as good as Dogs. It's a lot simpler. I mean, in a way, it's a lot like Have a Cigar. Stuff. The lyrics are brilliant and everything. It's very simple by Roger Waters' standard, not the music, but the style of lyrics. It's very direct. I like it. What's interesting about it, of course, this is where Roger started to go a bit weird at this point in the concerts. All the concerts, apparently, he would shout numbers. And I think they figured out that it was how many concerts he'd done, how many times he had to do this. And on the last gig, obviously, when he's already had a rant at the audience for not listening to my song, something happens in Pigs, and legend goes that's the spitting incident. It is amazing to listen to. It's actually kind of frightening. It's possible he's shouting at the pig, the inflatable pig, but what people reckon it is, and what some accounts of people who were there was a kid trying to climb up, because obviously I always wondered about this. It's at a stadium. How did he spit on the audience when they're so far away? This kid was climbing over the stuff and climbing, and the security got him. Roger told him to get rid of him, and then we hear he's singing, he's doing it through the PA on the microphone. Come back, pig! Come back, all is forgiven! And he does that weird scream thing he does. And apparently he went over, spat in his face, gone completely bashist, nut job, woo, gone like Sid, in fact. And that was the last gig, and obviously inspired the next song.
Shine on You Crazy Diamond.
So so there's actually an interval. So they play the whole of Animals, and then there's an interval, and then they play the whole of Shine on You Crazy Diamond. Did you know? Very, very rarely did Pink Floyd, as in the real band Pink Floyd, ever open with Shine on You Crazy Diamond. This suffers from a couple of things. One is the rougher playing that I'm saying it's quite sloppy, the playing. Shine On needs to be very focused. You know, it's all about the spaces and the waiting, and then as a band they jammed and it was different every night, which is wrong, because it's Shine On You Crazy Diamond. It has to be exactly the same. Gilmour realised this later on, and he just got a load of session musicians to recreate the sound of the album as close as possible. They never used backing singers on Shine On. Never. Even they didn't have backing singers at this point, but even on the previous tour, when they were doing Dark Side of the Moon, they didn't come out till Dark Side of the Moon. So the vocals are well dodgy.
You've only got to hear those notes.
Yeah, if you want to hear Shine On live, don't. To be honest, I mean the later version is good. I'm dubious about Gilmour singing the verses. You got the backing singers on Paul, so that's great. But you shone like the sun. Doesn't matter. I don't know. I mean, it's still fantastic. Next track.
Welcome to the Machine.
To the Machine. We recorded a version of Welcome to the Machine once, didn't we? This is slightly better than our version. It's not a great version. It didn't come out great. The vocals aren't cutting it. It sounds to me like they're not focused.
This is quite a long concert.
It is, yeah.
And to put something so heavy far in, and there's still a long way to go.
Yeah.
Probably not a smart idea.
A real sign of how awful the audiences were. Apparently, I don't know what show it is, but you can hear someone saying, "They're just playing the album. We didn't come out to just hear the album." I question Gilmour's attitude at this point. I mean, maybe Gilmour was a bit fed up. Waters had completely taken over, and maybe that had sort of crept up on them a bit. And obviously, whilst the other two would have been pretty accepting about it, Gilmour wasn't. And maybe I hear an attitude, a moody attitude in his playing, a sloppiness.
Well, I just know by the end of this, his vocals are pretty bad on a song where the vocals need to be pretty good.
Now, Waters isn't a great vocalist, so he's never going to sound that good. You can hear Gilmour, he's got a strong voice, but there's not...
I mean, it could just be fatigue. I mean, I don't know how far into the tour this was.
Yeah, they played a lot of gigs.
Yeah, and it's a lot of singing.
But like I said, with the audience going mental all the time, it can be a bit disconcerting. Next song.
Have a Cigar.
Have a Cigar, originally sung by Roy Harper. We're not supposed to talk about him now, are we? But yeah, this is where you've got Waters and Gilmour singing it, and it's so bad they burst into laughter at the start. So, you know, and then you get some slightly lazy noodling. It's not their greatest song anyway, is it? It's certainly the least interesting song on Wish You Were Here.
No, but you do get an inkling that Wish You Were Here is actually would have been a good album to perform live if they got it together.
Had it been on the Wish You Were Here tour,
yeah.
which never happened.
Yeah, because there are elements where you think, actually, this is really good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing.
Next song.
Wish You Were Here.
Wish You Were Here. I don't think this is a great version of Wish You Were Here. I don't think they played it very well. The Gilmour band, it's not Pink Floyd. The Gilmour band plays it better, and he sings it better. It is nice though. He doesn't do the scat thing. He just plays some blues guitar, which is nice. It's nice to hear a different version of it, so that's cool. And this is one of the better ones.
It's a great song live. That's staple.
It's an utterly fantastic song as well.
Yeah.
Obviously.
We watched a Roger Waters solo concert. With
Yeah,
his band and
he sings it. Yeah, it's not right. It's wrong.
for some reason. It needs Gilmour.
Hang on, I'm playing Tangerine. Song. Next song.
The second part of Shine On You Crazy Diamond.
Second half parts, whatever it is, 6, 7, 8 and 9 or whatever it I actually think, now part of me is with Waters with the whole, it just goes on and on and on, and it ends, and then dun, dun, there's that tired stuff carries on going, oh my god. But as a live performance, this is the highlight of the concert. It's 20 minutes, and there's some fantastic playing. It's a shame it's not a bit tighter. It should have been amazing, and it kind of is. And you've got the harmonies with Snowy White and Gilmore, and there's a real bluesiness to it, which isn't on the album. That's cool. Bit I really love is that bit I just mentioned. After it ends, you get the Rick Wright synth solo. It's not a synth solo, it's played on piano. It's just quiet, and it's brilliant. And then, of course, you hear the audience going completely mental, ruining everything. Thanks, audience.
Ruin everything. What did you pay your ticket for?
So, yeah, we've got to the encores.
Yeah.
Money. This is a fairly average version of Money. I do remember being kind of disappointed when I heard the bass playing, and Roger Waters actually playing Money is really sort of... Because, of course, it's doubled with guitar, muted guitar on the album. It doesn't sound right. But you've got the jam in the middle, obviously, and he goes right down really quiet, and there's a whole lot of stuff in there, which is really cool. And this is an okay version. Vocals are a bit rough around the edges. The version on the last concert is kind of horrible. Gilmore sounds really out of it. Like, I think basically they couldn't calm the audience down. The audience were just getting more and more mental, blowing up fireworks and screaming their heads off, and it really affected their performance, I think. But here it's okay.
Okay, next track.
Listen then, Rick Wright's greatest contribution to the Waters band, which is, from Dockside onwards, that I think Us and Them is his most important contribution. He did obviously write it earlier than that. It is such a fantastic... It suffers... I don't like the 70s live versions with Gilmore really sort of belting out the chorus, sort of shouty. I really don't like that. But it is such a good song.
And this is the track I was on when it needs more delicate vocals.
And it's backing singers as well.
And he's really... It sounds like he's really struggling. But he's played a lot of music, He's sung a lot of songs.
Yeah.
And he can't be bothered.
No, I think there's a thing. I think he's got a bit of an attitude. I think maybe he's fed up a bit. Of course, the end of the concert on the last gig, after Us and Them, the crowd was still going mental. Gilmore disappears. Some people say into the audience he disappears and went and sat at the back by the mixing desk and watched them waiting there. And supposedly, some people have said there was like a half-hour gap before they came back on. Of course, they haven't got Gilmore. They can't play anything.
No.
So they just played a slow blues apparently to try and calm the audience down. I think Waters was very sort of apologetic. You can hear it when he says thank you. It sounds like he's like, oh crap, I've been spitting at the audience. So whether Gilmore thought, oh, I'm out here spitting at the audience, or whether Gilmore thought the audience don't deserve this, don't know. But it seems he has an attitude, which is interesting given what happened subsequently. Now of course here they didn't play a slow. They're playing Careful with the Axe, and it was the only gig on the tour, last performance ever of Careful with the Axe. What can you say? How awesome is that?
And it's a good version as well, isn't it? Sort of.
Yeah.
It sounds really good.
Yeah, they obviously played it so much. Well, they hadn't played it since 70. They briefly played it in 74 a little bit. So, thanks for watching. Something different next week.
And subscribe.
And we'll leave you with Tear Down the Wall. Tear down the wall. Tear down the wall. Tear down the wall. See you next time!